Stay tuned to hear the real benefits of why buying is better than renting. Welcome back to another episode of our series 60 Lessons that we've learned in 60 years. And today we're going to talk about the real benefits of buying versus renting. So let's talk about the first thing, and that is
mortgage.
Yeah,
you want to talk about mortgage rates?
Well, owning a home forces you to save, right? So it's a forced savings account in the sense that every time that you are paying your monthly payment, a portion of that's going towards your
principal.
Right.
Correct.
So it's. I mean, give the example of if there's no appreciation, you've still built equity in.
You're still paying it down. So unlike when you rent, you're paying. Let's say you rent it for 5 years, you pay all that rent. At the end of 5 years, you have nothing. And the chances of the landlord, like I rent properties for people, I raise the rent 3%, 4% every year. So I'm going to continue to raise your rent. On a mortgage, as long as you do a fixed rate, it's a fixed rate mortgage. So your rent or your mortgage payment stays the exact same.
Yeah, exactly, exact same. You have security because let's say the landlord says, you know what, it's time for me to sell. I need the money. I want to buy another asset or allocate that money somewhere else. Now you got to move again. Now that's first, last security.
And moving costs.
So, so you can't be kicked out. But again, going back to first, last security, moving costs. I mean, for an FHA or VA, depending on what other mortgage or mortgage vehicle out there, you can buy a house for
a VA. You can get in with no money down. FHA 2 to 3% down. Typically, you can ask the seller to pay a portion or all of your closing costs. So literally, you could actually buy a house with less money than it costs you to get your first, last, and security. And then on top of that, you've got the tax benefits.
And in a low interest rate environment like what we're in, your payment's going to be less than what you could rent.
Absolutely. The reason people like me own rentals is because I can rent them and make a profit. If you want to buy, as long as you've got a reasonable credit score, we can get you a loan. And we have lenders out there that will work with people with 500, 600, 700 credit scores. We've even got a couple that will work with bankruptcies. I think it's up to 1 or 2 years now. It used to be 5 or 7. I think it's 1 or 2 years. So if you've got a need or you're thinking about buying something, call us. At least let us put you with a lender and let you talk to that lender.
And then I think one other thing to talk on is the tax benefits. You can write off at the end of the year, you can write off your mortgage interest and your taxes.
Which you cannot do if you rent.
Correct. And the last thing is you can do anything with the property. You know, if you want to make improvements, you want to rip out the kitchen, if you want to paint that wall purple, go right ahead. But
just make sure you paint it back something when you go to sell it.
Benjamin Moore, decorator white, whenever it comes time for selling.
Well, we see people, paint walls pink, paint walls purple. You can do that as an owner. You cannot do that as a tenant because they're going to take it out of your security deposit.
And then sweat equity, if you're doing things that are actually improving the value, kitchen, flooring, things of that nature. You're building up equity.
You continue to bring the house up to standards, so somebody will pay you a premium for a house that you've brought up to standards. Thanks for watching. You can always comment with any questions. We enjoy the questions a lot. Join us next time. Learn what happens after an accepted contract. We'll see you next week.
If you're enjoying our videos and our topics, subscribe to our YouTube channel or like our Facebook page for our weekly videos.